Hello.
Hello. You are really something, Harold.
Why?
You don't check your messages.
Oh, about the 7 or 8 o'clock? Yeah. I'm I'm checking so many other things. I forgot about that. That's no problem.
Hi, Abe.
Hello, good morning.
Morning. It's late for you now, right?
Guess what?
It's
6
late.
a.m., right?
I got an
It's,
extra hour sleep today.
you can sleep another hour today, yeah?
They changed the clock in Israel?
Yep, that's the
Oh,
time. No, it's like
No, it's because
oh,
yesterday was at 5. Now it's at 6 today.
oh,
it's good.
I
6 o'clock.
see.
Hello?
Hello,
Hello, good evening.
I hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Can you hear us?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah? Ernie, log out and come back in.
No, I can hear
No.
you now. You're fine.
Oh, okay.
No, because I had my AirPods on.
That work?
The Bluetooth was on the AirPod.
Oh,
Okay, we're on Vav. That Rabbi Gamliel had made a gzeira that the shchita of a kusi was not acceptable. And then there's a question whether Rab Zera accepted this takana. If you're going to say that Rab Zera didn't accept it, so Lishani lay, he could have said, listen, Kan Kish Yisrael Amin Al Gabav. When is it kosher? When a Jew is watching him. Kan Kishen Yisrael Amin Al Gabav. When is it not kosher? When a Jew is not watching. Elalav Shmami Noah Kiblimine. Must be that he did accept it. Shmami Noah, and there's no difference whether or not the Jew is watching, the Jew is not watching. It's always not good. Why? My time of Gazu Rabbanon. Ki had Reb Shimon ben Elazar Shadri Reb Meir. Reb Shimon ben Elazar had been sent by Reb Meir Lasui Chamer Mi Bei Kusoi to bring wine from the Kusim. Ashkechehu Saba, an old man, which most people understand to be Eliyahu Navi. Amar le v'samta sakim bloecha im bal nefesh ata. Put a knife to your, like to where you swallow if you have ruach, which means don't drink of their wine. Halach Rav Shimon ben Elazar is siper dvarim lefnei Reb Meir. Rav Shimon ben Elazar went back and told Reb Meir what had happened. My time, huh? The Gozra Alein, and Rav Meir made a gzeira that you can't drink their wine. My time, huh? Amar Nachman bar Yitzchak, Demus Yonah Matzan Alem Barosh Har Grizim. In the Shomron by Har Grizim, where the Kusim would offer korbanos, they found the image of a dove. So they were worshiping Tavodah Zarah. Shai Oidim Osa. Now, Reb Meir l'tamei d'chai shlemiyuta. Reb Meir, throughout Shas, says that we have to worry about a minority. Now, the majority of the Kusim at that time did not worship Avodah Zarah. But according to Reb Meir, you have to worry about even the minority. Gazaruba atu miyuta. They made a gzeira about all of the Kusim because of the small amount of people that worshipped it. Rabbi Gamliel beis dino nami Reb Meir's virlu. Rabbi Gamliel and his bezdin that made the takana hold like Reb Meir that were chaysh l'miyuta. Pashte de kraba maiksi. What is this pasuk that we quoted? The samta sakin bloechim bal nefesh ata. V'tamer hayoshev nei rabbo. Student in front of his rebbe. The Tani Rav Chia Kiseshev Lilchom as Moshe. When you're trying to learn Torah from the Rebbe, bin tavin es hashel fanecha. You should concentrate and try to understand what he's telling you. The samta sakim bloecha im bal nefesh ata. Im yodea talmid barabo. If the Talmud knows that his Rebbe is going to give him good reasons for his answers, then you should analyze it, you should discuss it with him, and you'll be able to answer all your doubts. Im lav, if you're not sure that your Rebbe can do that, you should not ask him any questions, just listen quietly. Because if you ask him questions, he doesn't know the answer, it might embarrass him. In Bal Nefesh Ata, if you're a person that you won't be able to learn properly unless everything's been explained to you, then Proshem, and then you have to find another Rebbe. Rav Yizuk ben Yosef Shadri Rav Avo Lasui Chamri Bekusoi. Rav Avo sent Rav Yizuk to get wine from the Kusim. Ashkechai Hu Saba Amarle Leskan Shamrei Torah. You can't buy wine from the Kusim. They don't follow the Torah. Halach Rav Yitzchak v'siper dvarim l'fnei Rav Avo. Rav Yitzchak related this back to Rav Avo. Halach Rav Avo v'siper dvarim l'fnei Rabami Ravasi. Rav Avo told Ravami Ravasi. Now, rather than just make a gzer that you can't drink their wine, you can't eat from their shchita, they made them goyim completely. Now, Lamai, what is the nafkamina? From staying away from their shchita and their yain, already from the time of Rav Meir and Rav Gamliel, they were already prohibited. So what did Rav Ami and Rav Asi add? So inu gazer v'lo kiblu minai. Rav Meir and Rav Gamliel had made the gzer, but people didn't accept. Also, Rav Ami and Rav Asi gazer v'kiblu minai. Most of the Rishonim explain because in this later generation, it wasn't just a minority of Kusim that were worshiping Avodah Zarah, it was the majority. And what does it mean halachically? My odik chavim gemurim. Abram nach vayisuk levatel reshus v'litin reshus. When you live in an apartment house on Shabbos, and you need an Erev Chatzeros. So everyone has to participate, give money, they buy a loaf of bread, and they make it like one person's house. But a goy cannot join in that Erev. And they have to make a kid, they have to buy it from him. They can't just be mevatel the rishus. Kedetanya. Yisrael mumur, shamer shabbos b'shuk. If there's a Jew who doesn't keep certain things of the Torah, but he keeps Shabbos publicly, mevatel rishus v'noitim rishus. He can give up his rishus in an apartment. But however, she'ena shamer shabbos b'shuk. If he violates Shabbos publicly, ein mevatel, he's treated like a goy. Ein mevatel rishus v'noitim rishus. You'd have to acquire his rights from the apartment to get him out of the Eruv. And they show Yisrael nois rishus mevatel rishus uva kochav matshi yiskri. You'd have to rent it from him. Keitzad, how does a Jew give up his rishus? Amar lo rishusi knuyelach. All you have to say is my apartment is koni for you, or rishusi muvutelas lach. Then kona ve'enatzarach l'zakos. You don't have to do a kinyan. So when they said that they're like goyim, it refers to that halacha. Rav Zeh Ravasi iklu punda dioy. Rav Zeh Ravasi visited the inn. Ashtakamai beitzim ha'metzukos biyayin. They brought them a dish, eggs mixed with wine. Rav Zeh loy achal, Ravasi achal. Rav Zeh didn't eat. Ravasi ate. Amar Rav Zeh Ravasi v'lo chayish malo taruvus t'mai. The owner of this inn was an Amoritz. When they sell you something, food-wise, you always have to be concerned that they didn't take Trumas and Meisters. It's Demai. It's a suffix. So Rav Zeh said to Rav Asi, aren't you concerned that this is a mixture of Demai? Rav Asi said, I didn't think about it. I don't understand, Rav Zeh. Efshar Gozral Taruvus Demai. Chachami made Xera not to eat a mixture of Demai. And Ravasi almost came to eat it. We see by the story of Pinchas ben Yair's donkey that he didn't eat truma or tevel. He didn't eat tevel. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't allow even the animals of tzaddikim to commit naver. Tzaddikim atzman like kol shekeh. So Nafak Rav Zeh Doc Vashka. So Rav Zera tried to justify why Ravasi ate. And he found something, the Tanya. If you buy wine from an Amoritz and your intent is to make it into fish brine or some kind of medicinal drink, or karshin and lasos benchinin, you buy like legumes to make ground legumes. Adoshim lasos ben resisin, you buy lentils and you're going to grind it. So you bought the item itself, chayv mishum d'mai. You'd have to separate trumas and meisos because it's d'mai. Vein tzarach lamer mishum vaday. If you know for sure, it's not just a suffix, you'd have to do it. However, if you buy the mixture, the wine mixture, the fish brine mixture, hey natzman mutarin, they're not treated like d'mai. You don't have to separate trumas and meisters. Mipnei shein taruvis, because it's now mixed with food that does not need trumas and meisters. That's why Ravasi ate it. V'lo gozra al taruvis d'mai. Didn't the Chacham make a gzeira on that? Vatanya. Hanoisen l'shchento isa lafos ukeder levashel. You give a dough to your neighbor to bake or a dish to cook. Eina choshesh l'seor v'tavlin shaba. You gave all the spices and all the things that are needed. Now, we're not concerned that she kept yours and put in her own spices. Lo mishum svish, lo mishum meiser. We're not concerned about that. V'i omer lo asili mishalichi. If he didn't give her the spices. But he said, use your own things. Now, he got the product back after everything was mixed, either in the dish or in the bread. And it's a mixture. So you said before you wouldn't have to give the demai. How come here you have to give you have to separate? Shiny also the kivin de kamer lo asili mishalichi. Since you gave her instructions, make from your own stuff. Command arvia daim dummy. It's as if you mixed it with your own hands. So therefore you got the ingredients directly, and you'd have to give maestros from it. Rav from Amar shiny sor v'tavlin de l'taima of it. Normally, when you have a mixture of demai, we say that it becomes bottle. But because this is spices and seasonings, it won't become bottle. Taima lo bottle. Now, we said that if you gave spices to your neighbor in Amaretz, she wouldn't take your spices, keep it for herself, and mix her own stuff in there. We're not worried about that. Why? We should be worried, but not. Your mother-in-law and her husband is an Amoritz, and you give to your mother-in-law something to bake. You have to meiser shu noisin-law. You have to take meiser of what you gave her, and what she gives back. We are worried that she's going to switch, machlif, and keep the stuff that you gave her. Or it says, Hassan, there's a reason for that. She wants her daughter, who's married to you, to be happy. And is embarrassed because of the son-in-law. Won't serve him something that's spoiled, so she's suspected of being machlifit. But a regular Amoritz is not suspected of doing that. We should always be worried that they're going to switch it. Not. You have an innkeeper where you're staying, and you give her food to cook. Meiser shu noisin, you have to take meiser from what you give her. And what that which she makes. Because it's a regular Amoritz, and yet we're still worried about hachlafa. She will switch the food because Barbe Rav Lechel Chamima. She wants the person who's staying at her inn. She wants her to come back, so she'll wants to give him good hot bread. Vana Echel Kriya, and I'll eat his cold food. So the Amaretz is being machlif. But it's not stamazoi. It's because she has a svara. And that's why, but by regular Amaretz, they wouldn't do that. The Gemara persists. I'll show that by an Amaretz, they do switch. Vatanya, Eishes Chaver Torchenes and Meishes Amaretz. The wife of a Chaver who eats all of his food b'tahara can grind wheat together with the wife of an Amaretz. Bizman she tmeya. When the wife of the Chaver is tamei. Avalo bizman she tahira, because we're concerned that she's going to become tamei by working with the Amaretz. Rav Shmuel Lozer Oimer, af bizman she tmeya loy titchon. She can't become more tamei. B'nei shechaverta noisenes lavoichelas. There's wheat that hasn't been taken meiser from, and she eats it. And hashta migzul gazla, she would even steal from her husband to give some of her food to her friend. Chilufim a boy, so they're always going to switch. So on Rav Yosef, no, there was also a special case. Hasam nami mori va'amra torah medishul ka'achal. She's grinding with me. So just like an ox can eat from what he threshes, human being also wants to eat what she grinds. But a regular situation, the Amoritz would not be suspected of switching. Hayed Rabbi Shua ben Zorz ben Chavish Rameir lefnei Rabbi al Rab Meir. She'achol aleh shel yerek b'Beit Sha'an. He ate a vegetable in Beit Sha'an, and he didn't give meiser. V'iti Rabbi's Beit Sha'an kul al yado. Rabbi said that the whole area of Beit Sha'an, you don't have to give trumas and meisers. Chavro lavechav u'beis aviv. Rabbi's family gathered, Amrlo, Malcolm Shavoisecha v'avosecha nobo iser. Your ancestors would take meiser here. Ata tinig boheter. Darshlan mikra. He darshan the following pasuk: the kitat nachasha nachoshes asher asa Moshe. There used to be a nachash in the desert that when the snake bit people, they looked at it and they got healed. That serpent made out of copper was kept, and Chizkiah Melech destroyed it. He had a yomim ha'im ayub neisram hakatrin lo. Jews would burn incense to it. Vayikralo nechushtan. They called it a name, nechushtan. Efsher bo asa v'lo biaro. Chizkiah's ancestor, who was a tzaddik, Asa. Why didn't he destroy it? Ba Yehoshaphat v'lo biaro. Yehoshaphat, that we've also been learning, didn't destroy it. V'lo kol avodah zarah sheba'olam asa v'Yehoshaphat biuram. Asa and Yehoshaphat destroyed every avodah zarah in the world. Why did they keep this nachash around? So that we'll have to finish tomorrow. Now let's learn.
1 second.
Okay. We are on Kuf Tes. Amid Aleph. So the last remnant of the Anshe Knesset Hagola was Shimon HaTzadik. Shimon HaTzadik, we lived up until about 323 BCE because he had a visit with Alexander the Great. Now, he had a son, Chonyo. We're going to see he was supposed to take over as a Kohen Gadol, but he didn't. He ran away to Alexandria, and he built a temple there. And there were korbanos offered there. Now, there's going to be a machlokes tanoim on the next page, whether this bias that Chonyo built was worshiping Hashem or Avodah Zarah. Now, everybody holds you cannot offer a korban outside the base of Mikdash Yerushalayim. So what he did wasn't good. So the Mishnah starts by saying, Harei alai ola. If a person says, I'm accepting a neder to bring an ola, yakrivenu b'mikdash, it should be offered in the base of Mikdash. Imikriva b'beis chonyo lo yotza. If he offered it in the bias in Beis Chonyo in Alexandria, then of course it's possible because he did it outside of the Azorah. If he says Harei alai ola shakrivenu b'beis chonyo, if he specifies and says, I'm going to bring an ola and I'm going to offer it in Beis Chonyo, yakrivenu b'mikdash, he should offer it in the base of Mikdash because you're not allowed to bring korbanos outside the base of Mikdash. And he's still going to be on the hook of bringing an ola because he said, I want to bring an ola. However, says the Tanakama, imikriva b'beis chonyo yotza. And the Gemara will have to explain how. Reb Shimon Omer ein zu ola. If he offers it in Beis Chonyo, it's not an ola at all. And it's completely chullin. You can sell it and eat it. Period. Hareni Nazir, someone says, I want to become a Nazir. The end of the 30 days, he has to take a haircut. Yigaleach b'mikdash. He should do it in the base of Mikdash. V'mgilach b'beis chonyo lo yotza. If he shaved in Beis Chonyo, he's not yotzei. And he did all his korbanos in Beis Chonyo. It's all invalid. But Hareni Nazir she'egalech b'beis chonyo. He makes a specific vow. I'm going to take my haircuts in Beis Chonyo. still yigalech b'migdash. You have to do it the Beis Hamikdash. However, im gileach b'Beis Chanyo yotza, like we said before. But Reb Shimon Omer ain't a nazir. So it says in the Mishnah, if he went ahead and offered it in the Beis Chanyo, it says yotza. How can it be hamiktel katla? Because it was done outside of the Beis Hamikdash, it's completely invalid. And therefore it's as if he killed an animal without shechita. So how are you yotze? Amar Vamnuna, Nasiko Eme Harei Alei Oila Menash Lo Eschayiv B'Achriyusa. When he made the original neder, it's as if he said, I'm bringing an Ola on condition that I'm not responsible for replacing it if I lost it or if it dies or something like that. That's what it means when he says, I'm going to offer it in Beis Chanyo. And even if it dies or gets killed, I don't have to bring another one. He's still, if he shechts it, he's going to get kores for shchitas chutz, since it was an ola. What about the seifa? Diktani, Hareini Nazir, Shegalech B'Veis Chanyo. I take a Nazir's vow, but my shaving is going to be in Beis Chanyo. We say Yigalech B'Mikdash. You should do it in the Beis Hamikdash. In Gilech B'Veis Chanyo Yatsa. Now, are we saying it's going to be like the Reisha that I'm a Nazir on Tanai that I don't have personal responsibility to bring the korbanos? That doesn't work. Nazir kama de lo ma'aseh korbanos of lo miskasher. He's never going to go out of his naziris to eat, to drink wine, to become tum until he brings his korbanos. So what does it help him? He's not bringing an actual korban oila. He's bringing a gift to the Beis Hamikdash. Amar Yisagi Beis Chanyo Turachna. Tfelo Matzin Litztaruri. The person lived in Egypt, very far from Eretz Yisrael. He lived near this Beis Chanyo. He's bringing this animal by himself, but he doesn't want to bring it farther than Beis Chanyo. So he's not talking about a chiyuv to bring an olah, because he never made such a neder. He's giving a gift to the Beis Chanyo, and it's not really a korban, and therefore there's no shchitas chutz. Nazir nami, hi gavra l'tzuri nafshei komachavi. He's not accepting naziris. He's abstaining from wine to cause himself pain. Omer isagi b'Beis Chanyo terachta. I'll do it at Beis Chanyo. Tfelo matzilas karushuri. I'm not going to go further. However, for Hamnun Amrulcha, nazir ka'amrit. What kind of person just wants to be mitzar himself? You said regarding the ola that I'm not a chrayis to bring any more. If it gets lost or if it died, there's nothing to do with the naziris. A person says, I'm going to bring an ola, but it's going to be at Beis Chanyo. Vikriva be'eretz Yisrael. Now, he offered it not in the Mizbeach, not in the Beis Hamikdash, but in Eretz Yisrael. Yotzav Onush Kores. He fulfilled his. He doesn't have any further obligation to bring anything. And he gets Kores for Shchitas Chutz. Tana Ma'achi, Harei Lo Oila Shekrov Midbar. He wanted to bring an Ola in the Midbar, Vikriva Be'ver Yarden. Yotzav Onush Kores. He's fulfilled his obligation of the neder, but he gets kores because He offered an ola chutz lebeis hamikdash. Mishnah. HaKohanim sheshimshu bebeis chonyo. The Kohanim that did the avodah in Beis Chonyo, they made a gzeira lo yishamshu b'migdash Yerushalayim. Anyone who worked in the Beis Chonyo could not ever work in the Beis Hamikdash. Certainly, if Kohanim were found to work in a Beis Avodah Zarah, they were never allowed to work in the Beis Hamikdash. Shenemar ach lo yalu konei abamos el mizbach Hashem b'Yerushalayim. The Kohanim who worked in the Bamos did not go and work in Yerushalayim. The Bamos were permitted, remember, during when the 14 years before the Mishkan and Shiloh, and in the 57 years between the destruction of the Mishkan and the Beis Hamikdash. In the time of Yoshua Melech, there had been, you couldn't offer korbanos and abomas, because once the Beis Hamikdash was built in Yerushalayim, you couldn't bring it in a bama. So again, they made this penalty for Kohanim that would offer on a bama. They would be able to eat of the mincha, but they couldn't do the mincha itself. Like a balmum, who can cholkin voichlin, they can eat from what was offered, but they can't v'lo makriv. If a Kohen shechted an animal to an avodah zarah, but then he did tshuva, and then he offered a korban in the Beis Hamikdash, it's accepted. If he shechts in the Beis Hamikdash, because it's that. Remember, anybody can do shechita, even a non-Kohen. To do another avodah, he might not be able to do. Where is the source for this? Amar Yitzchak bar Avdimi, Ma'ikra, Yana asher yishasu osam lifnei gilulahem v'ayu lebeis Yisrael lemichshol avon There's a pasuk in Yechezkel. Because the Kohanim worked for Klal Yisrael by the Giluleim, by their Avodah Zarah, and they were a michshol, like michshol avon, like you're not supposed to cause people to stumble. They will have to bear their sin. What was their sin? What is their punishment? They can't come and do the avodah. But they had to do some type of service to the avodah zarah. And shchita lav sherusu. Shchita is not a real service, because even a non-Kohen can slaughter the Beis Hamikdash. Itma. Shagag Bizrika. He didn't know that he was in an avodah zarah place, and he threw the blood of an avodah zarah. He thought it was permitted. So it's machloikes. Rav Nachman Amar Korban Reich Nichach. He can later on, if he did tshuva, his korbanos will be accepted. Rav Sheshes Amar Ein Korban Reich Nichach. Rav Sheshes Mena Min Allah. Rav Sheshes, who says we don't accept it, where does he get that? T'chsiv Vayulu Beis Yisrael Michshol Avo. The Kohanim who did the avoda in Beis Avodah Zarah were a michshol for Klal Yisrael. Lav o michshol o avon, u michshol shoygig v'avon mezid. So michshol refers to a shoygig, and even if he did a shoygig, he's not allowed to. He gets a penalty, and he's not allowed, whether he did it b'mezid or shogeg, he's excluded from bringing future korbanos to Beis Hamikdash. What does Rav Nachman respond? Michshol de avon. It doesn't mean, it means only b'mezid, but not b'shogeg. Rav Nachman, no, I mean, alo detanya v'chiper kren ala nefesh asher geges b'cheta b'shkaga. Melamed shekoin miskaper al yidei atzmo. The kohen can have kapor for his own shogeg. But my ilem b'shchita. What kind of avoda did he do in front of the avodah zarah? Did he shecht? My ear yeshogeg afilu mezid nami. We already said that is not a disqualifying avoda because even a zar can shecht. And a lav bizrika. So it must be that he was even doing the zrika sadam. Must be that he did it b'shogeg, and therefore he's not completely disqualified. Rav Sheshes Ramalacha, lo'elam b'shchita. No, even shchita will disqualify him. Uvemezid lo nase mishayis avodas kechavim. When you shech to avodah zara, you're certainly becoming a kohen avodah zara. So he's certainly, according to Rav Sheshes, prevented from ever working in the Beis Hamikdash. They both are, Rav Nachman and Rav Sheshes follow their shita that we see elsewhere, the itmar. Hazid b'shchita, if a kohen shechted b'mezid to avodah zara, then he did tshuva, Rav Nachman amar korban reich nichoach. If he then brings a korban, we accept it. Rav Sheshes amar ein korban reich nichoach. Rav Nachman amar korban reich nichoach, the law of shirus. Shchita is not a real shirus. It's from Kabbalah, Hoylocha, and Zrika that's a real shirus. Rav Sheshes amar ein korban reich nichoach. You are certainly acting as a kohen to an avodah zarah by shechting, and that certainly is going to invalidate you from working in the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, we did Kuf Tes Amud Aleph. We will do Kuf Tes Amud Beis tomorrow, and then Kuf Yud, God willing, the following day we finish Menachos.
Okay, Ishkoyach.
Go ahead. Have a good night.
Good night.
Tomorrow, 7.
Tomorrow 7:00.